Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day considering the situation of the world right now. Um, with all the things going on in the world, with all the gloom and doom and everything, I thought today would be the perfect day to share with you my most embarrassing moment and my most shameful moment. My most embarrassing moment and most shameful moment in my life occurred within maybe a half second of each other. and so I want to share with you guys today that moment. And I hope maybe some of you guys out there will share yours. And let's see if we can get some laughs going out here. This story is true, 100%. and this happened whenever I was in, I think it was third grade. I was probably 8 years old, something like that. And I was going to school at Vivian Fowler, Mount Pleasant, Texas. And I had one of those old school teachers. I can't remember her name. May have been Miss Ellis. But she was one of those teachers. She was one of the end of the age type teachers. She was from the old school, and most of the other teachers in the school were these, back in those days, it's the early 70s, and they had the bouffant hair and the hairspray and all that stuff. And she was still wearing like the frontier dress and the gray hair pulled back in a bun, and the horn rimmed glasses, She was serious. I was always afraid of her. But anyway, this is way back then. I had her as my teacher. And I had this girl that I was just absolutely obsessed with. I was in love with her. She had the biggest blue eyes I'd ever seen in my life, and I was just, every time I would get around her, I just turned into an idiot, I didn't know how to behave. And so anyway, I couldn't tell you how many notes I sent her, will you be my girlfriend? Check yes or no, And, but anyway, there was one day we were having class, and Miss Ellis, I think that was her name. In class, you were quiet. You wasn't no talking and giggling and stuff like that, and we was all quiet. And I remember she was up at the chalkboard, and she was writing, and I was at almost the last row at the very front, but our chalkboard was to the left of me, so she was far over there. So the whole class was looking away, opposite of my direction. And it's the silence is deafening. And and she's writing on the board, and I'm just, I'm tired, back then. And so I just kind of slumped down in my desk and, relaxed my feet out in front of me. And you got to remember, these are those old school desks, the old wooden desks like the plywood seats. And directly underneath you is where it had the storage container where you put all your books and stuff. And it actually made a pretty good subwoofer. Anything that happened on top of that seat was going to be amplified and boosted out that subwoofer. Well, whenever I relaxed and just let my feet go, I had the biggest fart come out of me. There's no way a fart that big could come out of an 8-year-old boy. I summoned something up from my ancestors. I don't know what it was. But whenever it hit that chair and hit that subwoofer, it just, it really, boom. I mean, and you'd be amazed how the human brain works, because it's like time stood still for just a minute. And my brain is going over all these scenarios in my head. First of all, my eyes got about that big. And I'm thinking, I just ruined any chance I ever had of getting that girl to be my girlfriend, And then I'm thinking, how can I how can I swing this to make this to where I still come out all right? You know, you got all these scenarios running around. And during this time, this is like a millisecond. And about this time, everybody in the class is turning around, and everybody looks right at me. There was no doubt where it come from. And here's where my most shameful moment comes in. At that moment, I did the only thing I knew to do to try to save face and not ruin my chances with the love of my life. I jerked around just as fast as I could and looked at the girl behind me like she did it. And she had the biggest shocked look on her face like, no, I didn't, and no, you didn't either. You didn't do that to me. I turned around, looked at her, and did like, I had a shocked look on my face like, I can't believe you did that. Anyway, that was it. I remember all the boys in class. They were giving me heck about it at recess and stuff, and I'm sure Miss Ellis, you know, had a story to tell the other teachers in the teachers' lounge. And you know, a year later in 4th grade, I sent her enough notes to where she finally checked yes. And she just checked it long enough because the next day she sent me a note that said she broke up with me. She just did it so I'd quit bugging her. But I figured after a year, it's probably enough time she would forget about it. And, you know, I don't know if anybody could ever forget that. That was the loudest fart. And sometimes I wonder, and I'm like, what would my life have been like if I hadn't had that happen to me? What kind of domino effect started after that affected my life negative? I wonder about stuff like that sometimes. Anyway, I wanted to share my most embarrassing and most shameful moment in my life. Break up the monotony of what's going on here in the Philippines and what's going on in the rest of the world. And I hope it made you laugh. And come on, everybody. Let's share some of those stories you got too. I love you all. God bless.